On Osun local government funds. So the ongoing dispute over the withheld funds of 30 local government councils in Osun State suffered another setback as the Oyo State High Court sitting in Ibadan adjourned the matter for the hearing. Also, the Adamawa State chapter of African Democratic Congress (ADC) urged prominent leaders who are yet to officially register their membership to the party to do so. Chairman of the party in the state, Shehu Yohana, at the party's state headquarters in Yola, mentioned former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and former Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Lawan Laboratory, among those that the party expects to register. Also, the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities and the Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions declared a one-day protest on Thursday over inability of the federal government to address their demands. And on to stories that get our attention today, the National Council of State unanimously approved the appointment of Professor Joash Ojo Amukwito, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, as the new chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. This was contained in the statement posted on X by the President's aide Bayo Onanuga on Thursday. Also, President Bola Tinubu accepted resignation of Uche Naji, Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, following allegations of certificate forgery. The announcement was made in a statement by presidential spokesperson Bayo Onanuga on Tuesday in Abuja. These and many more get our attention today. It is indeed my pleasure to welcome you to today's episode of Firecrackers. My name is Iribami Salako, and I have with me in the studio Dr. Yemi Omodele, law practitioner. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us at this time.
Good evening, Nigerians, the listeners at home, and viewers. You are welcome to another episode, which is interesting and educative.
Definitely. So before we start discussions on this program, let us first of all go citizenry. And that's Mahmoud Yakub steps down as Inec chairman. And then we also have another organization who has some, well, everyone would always have complaint about appointments or whatnot. So let's go see that. And when we come back, we'll begin discussions on this topic. Stay with us. To have you back, if you're just joining us, this is Firecrackers and we're just about to get started. Now, the first topic that we have, that is the selection of INEC chairman, because the Council of State has already approved the nomination of Professor Amubita as INEC chairman. But now we await the confirmation from the Senate. So what do you think about the nomination of Professor Joash Amubita as the new chairman of INEC?
You see, what the presidency has done is in line with the law and the rules. The Council of State met, ratified the nominee, and the next thing is for the presidency to forward him to the National Assembly for ratification and confirmation, which is in line. You see, in Nigeria, people rush into conclusion without verification. You see, I read in some papers, even online prints and some print medias, some persons can say they were making comments out of context. So they didn't have a rethink before jumping into what I call conclusion. The person so nominated is a seasoned academic. He is even a professor, a deputy vice chancellor, a pro-chancellor in another university, a senior advocate of Nigeria. And I think with what I've read, he has the requisite qualifications to occupy such office. But the question is this: there are some challenges in that office, which some Nigerians, they want those challenges to be addressed. Good and fine. People say Rome was not built in a day. The same thing, Galaxy Television was not a what? Was not built in a day. It takes two to tango. The said nominee, once ratified, confirmed by the National Assembly, and being sworn in, we take a mantle of leadership of the said agency. A lot of changes are being expected by Nigerians. And I think he will put up his thinking tank, the requisite advisors, counselors, and the rest who will assist him in paddling the canoe that will lead Nigerians to a definite electoral restructuring and progress and development in the said unit. I think we are expecting that to happen. But I want to say that particularly some Nigerians who will be in the comfort of their rooms and in their what I call living room and be sending series of unverified comments, unverified information, to be careful. The appointment done, I think the persons who are involved in such did not just sleep at night and then maybe they just saw a vision, or a soothsayer came to them and said, this is the person we wanted. They must have done some what I call in-house verification, which would have warranted such a nomination. And that is why I will give such advice. We should be careful with what we say, with what we write, and what we post on the what I call social media. It is not fair. I've read a lot of this with some people who are just, I don't know, but they should be careful so that we will not cause problem where there is no problem.
Glad to have you back. Thank you so much for staying with us. And now we are still discussing Inec leadership selection. So, Dr. Modele, a lot of Nigerians have been talking about how the selection of whoever is going to the Inec chairman should be something independent, or something that the presidency should have nothing at all to do, because whenever elections are taking place, some people are always of the opinion that if the president has a hand in selection of whoever is the INEC chairman, and then our elections cannot be 100% credible. What are your thoughts on that?
That is, initially I said, Nigerians, we should be careful with what I call careless talk. Now, people are making comments saying that the presidency should not be involved in the selection or nomination of the number one official in terms of Independent National Electoral Commission. But have they had a rethink about the enabling law that operates in terms of appointment of the office holder? If that law has not been amended, the status quo remains. Now, to those people who made such proposal, it's a good and fine proposal, but you need to channel it through the proper channel. Proper channels, they can sponsor bills to the National Assembly for the amendment of the law to that effect. And if the bill goes through, to God be the glory, then independent body can then appoint the number one electoral officer in this country, which will be good and fine. But let's take it from this angle. As at today, the law is that such a person be nominated by the presidency and forwarded to the National Council of State. After the National Council of State ratifies, then for further presentation before the National Assembly, who will then ratify and confirm such appointment. That is the law as at today. So whoever wants anything contrary to that should forward the bill. Sponsor can sponsor what we call private bill to the National Assembly, or any member of the National Assembly can sponsor such a bill. Many have sponsored creation of additional universities in this country. Good and fine. Polytechnic, National NC, they sponsor something. They can also sponsor similar deals of such in order to wrestle such power from the presidency. If it's case to go there Saturday, that is the stuff. And that was what I've been doing. So those people making such comments, they have not consulted or go through what our law says. That is it. They can do that. They are free to do that because that our law allows that. They should do that. So if they do that, it's good enough to go big. But look at it from one angle. Nigerians, they always do what I call rush. The predecessor was in office for about 10 years or thereabout. This comment had been made then that the independent body should appoint the chairman of Inec. The same set of people that made the comment then in 2015 or 2016 are the same set of people making the comment now. Where were they between 2015 to 2025? I think from that period to today, they should have sponsored bills which would have addressed the issue they are now raising. Now take note. This is 2025. By 2030 or 2031 or 2032, or any time the position may be getting to be vacant, they will not sponsor any bill. It is when another new person is appointed, they will now go to what we call the press in the world and say appointment of the Inec chairman by the sitting president is not favorable. It doesn't bring the independence of the Inec. That is when they will start becoming. Now, new one has been appointed now, awaiting confirmation. They can start sponsoring the bill now. So that before it gets to the expiration of his tenure, their bill must have straight through. Then we face a new, what I call new dimension. But a situation where you stay in your room, you carry your phone and start sending one kind of something online. That is the problem around this country. You see, this social media, we do this person. This social media, some people, I say with all this, they abuse it in Nigeria. Yes. Unverified information. How will you do that? Just say it. In fact, one thing baffles me. I was reading a post. It said the president or the nominee was part of the legal team that defended the incumbent president in the last election petition tribunal. I read it. I said, all these people posing, where did they get this information? You see, the set of lawyers that represented or defended the president then in the tribunal is to public knowledge. They can go to the court and apply for certified true copy and check the list of lawyers that handle that case. Very simple. But without verification, you just carry your phone, start posting something. It's unfair. It's verifiable. Whether he was one of the members of the legal team or not, it's verifiable. Then what you have not verified, you just conclude, which I call assumption, which has no place in law. It's unfair. Don't let us set this country ablaze with all this kind of unnecessary posting. Let us do what we call verification of facts. Then when you verify you have the facts with you, then you can go haywire. But when you have not done so, you throw it open, people now start criticizing you, then you are turned to what I call falsehood, which is unfair. So let us be careful with what we post, with what we say, with what we pass across, so that the generations coming will know that we are always saying the truth. To verify takes less than few hours. Just an application. You want to get certified true copy of persons who represent anything in so. They will make it available to you. Then from there you go through. When you go through, you are unable to find his name there. You now say, this information is not true. But you have not done so. You went on there. It's unfair. It's unfair. But personally, I am saying this just to let us have what I call fair information in this country. not information that will throw the whole country into pandemonium. And some people, when they hear it, instead of them to take time to say, okay, I want to find out what you have, they will not. They will further repost and be posting it to you. You know, there are many platforms in this country.
Especially WhatsApp groups.
Exactly. Like me now, I'm in several platforms. In fact, virtually all the platforms, you will just see XY post it, DZ post it, JJ post it, Nana post it. I said, what is happening in this country? I said, okay. You know, I had to take it upon myself to go and look for the document, because then it was public knowledge. And I started looking at those names from number 1 to the last number. I couldn't find the man's name. I said, I didn't look at it very well. I said, okay, let me check Professor. I look at it, I said, maybe he abbreviated his name. I couldn't find it. I am not sure this thing is correct. That is how a reasonable person should behave. Not that you don't just stay at the back of your room when you are watching what they call it, African magic, and then you carry your phone and start typing what. Don't do that. Don't do that. You see, if not the issue of the political appointment, or what I call the appointment, the appointee can maintain action against such person who posted such a post. And if you pursue it critically to logical conclusion, you will get some compensation. You will get it. He is a lawyer. He's not ordinary. He's not merely a lawyer. He's a senior advocate of Nigeria. He's a professor. Professor of laws. Not professor of whatever. Professor of laws. Things are not done that way. A deputy vice chancellor. A pro-chancellor of another university. You know, he has got to the peak of his career. Now, he has been given the mantle of leadership of that agency to let us see breakthrough in terms of electoral process in Nigeria. Why can't we wait and let us see what the reforms that will take place? Yes, but I would suggest that to those Nigerians and inhabitants of this country, the lovers of this country, within and outside the country, who love to be posting series of things, if you have any good idea that can bring about electoral reforms in this country, put up your paper. Forward your paper. It will not be rejected. Your papers will be looked at. You can even forward it to the said agency that from your end, this is what you are. You can even organize seminar in order to educate Nigerians on the electoral process. Having done that, people will learn a lot from it. But when you have it within you, you keep it to yourself. It will die with you. So share it. Let people have it. Then don't share your idea when the act has been completed. You see, immediately after election is conducted, result is announced. You will see some ideas, people will bring it that, what about you do it this way, it will work this way, it's like what I call campaign after election. So let us campaign before election, not to campaign after election. That is exactly what I'm trying to say.
Okay, all right. But now, what reforms are you looking forward to seeing in Inec or in our electoral system, really? What reforms are you open to things that if they are implemented, then perhaps the electoral terrain in Nigeria will change for the better?
The reform that all Nigerians, all politicians expected is free and fair election. And you see, to conduct free and fair election in Nigeria, it requires what I call concerted effort. It's not a one-man game. All hands must be on deck before we can have what we call free and fair election. Because this is the reason. No politician wants to lose an election. All of them wants to win. And as you are strategizing, day to day are having what I call counter strategy so that they can win. Now, if that should be the case, then all stakeholders must be carried along. Well, I would suggest that in order to have a reform we all anticipate, it's a mere suggestion. The appointee can organize what I call conference, stakeholder meetings, where papers will be submitted. And the conference could start from ward to the federal. let people submit papers. Let them present papers on how we can make progress. Then papers will be subjected to a team of intellectuals who will then look at these papers and pick those ones that are good. The ideas that are useful, that are reasonable, they will look at it and then narrow it down to a definite point. Now, it's not a thing that you just invite like, you say 6 geopolitical zones. You just invite maybe what I say, your friends in this area, your friend there, you take them to one hotel in Abuja. They are just there for 7 days. All of them are, they are dining and whining, and they are bringing their, what I call old school idea. That is not it. In this wise, I say with all respect, some young guys, undergraduates and graduates, they are highly intelligent. They needed to be carried along. Some, what I call IT people, can also be involved. Some undergraduates be involved. In fact, market men and women, they too be highly intelligent when it comes to politics, when it comes to electoral system. In fact, some who did not even go to school are also intelligent when it comes to politics. It is not only the people that went to school that are intelligent about it. They can also be carried along. Market associations, traders association, national union of this, national union of that, ASU members, medical council members, NBA members. Involve them. Let conference be held. Let papers be exchanged. Let ideas be exchanged. We will have the best. But don't make it my friend, my mate, my sister, my brother. That will not lead us to, it will lead us to nowhere. So, doing that will give us what I call free and fair electoral system that Nigeria can work with and get to a definite point. The problem we have in these countries is this. We believe in what I call sectional consideration. This is it. I could recollect some years ago, there was they call it, is it confab? I think confab, where people were invited and they were given, they spent several, I think months or weeks in Abuja, deliberating. People were invited. The report was collated. I think it was a bundle of a report. The report today, nobody knows where it is today. Now, it was, people said it was a good paper. But if you look at the way the government of the day then did it, was that they invited people they know. People that they know. People that they know that may criticize them, that were invited to come to what they call confab. So they gathered all the papers together, ideas were exchanged, but the idea, where is the idea today? Nowhere to be found. Such should not happen this time. It's not good. Primary school teachers, secondary school teachers, be involved. Because when you see, during elections, Inec use NYC members, primary school teachers, secondary school teachers to be electoral officers during the election period. These are people that interact with the voters. These are the people that are on the feed that must have seen what transpired. The idea will be useful. You just stay in Abuja, you want to see, you stay there, you are watching something in television. You can't know what is happening in Badagry now. Can you know what is happening in Ajasekpo in Kwara State? That will not. But if somebody is in Ajasekpo as an electoral officer who interacted with them, will be able to tell you, say, sir, don't go this way, this way. You get the solution. Okay, somebody is in Damaturu as an electoral officer. We're able to tell you that in Damaturu, things are not that way. Once the sun is shining and the weather is too harsh, electorates, they don't come out. Then you take that one into consideration. But just election starts somewhere. It starts somewhere. Electoral materials will not be there until 11 years. So where are we going to? So that is why I am making a suggestion that stakeholders from grassroots to the up there be involved. Hear from them. Not only senators that can bring good ideas when it comes to it. Senators, rep members, they are elected to go and represent. The representation they are doing there, they are doing it there. But the people they are representing, they are more closer to the problems they are being faced. That is what I'm making sense of. So if the if the prof considers that, it will go a long way to assist us. And definitely we may likely have a kind of what I call a shift to a normalized way of conducting our elections. I am not saying technology should not be given added advantage.
Like the use of beavers?
Yes, where it's normal, then let me tell you. I said politicians. When you are bringing your idea, they have their own, what I call tutorial center, where they tutor themselves and what to do. You say beavers, they say beavers. Beavers is made by man now. It is work of technology. But people made it. They will see that and say, that beavers, okay, if you press 2, press 1, where do you get? 2 plus 2 is 4, okay. What about if you minus 2 from 4? Once you get 2 back, okay, let's go that way. They wait for you. Do it, they frustrate the system. But in order to guide against that, involve persons who are in the field. They know the problem. It is not everything that is viral. Certain things are of thinking. Yes. They are of thinking. The people that are voting, the people that are in the system. Not everything is money. There are certain things that are suffering. Do it this way, do it that way. Listen to them, whether they are saying the good thing or the wrong thing. Just listen. You will gain 1 or 2 things from what they are saying. From every nonsense thing, there is certain thing that is reasonable that we use. That is why I say it. In a nutshell, the seminar or the conference or get together or round table discussion could be done by the agency, let's say state government level or local government level. It doesn't cost much. Is it not 774 local governments? So if it is done in 774 local government, collate the 774 reports. At least 2, 3 will be better. It will be useful. People that have grievances, they will go there and talk. From what they are saying, you get through this. Okay, you hold it now. But when you just say in Abuja, they should be a body flight to Abuja to come and say conference there. That doesn't speak well. Some of those people who may have good idea may not be so rich to enter either motor to Abuja or board flight to Abuja. So that is it. But if you, from Abuja, you move from Abuja, you move to somewhere to where they call Onwan in Edo State, you move closer to the people, they say, the so is something, I will go there. Some will carry their bicycle, some will carry their, what they call Okada, some will carry their vehicle, some will trek down there to hear what is going to happen. And from there, you can tap 1 or 2 ideas from there. That is the suggestion I'm just making. So that we can have better ideas from Nigerians. Okay. That would be good.
Let us look at some of the reforms that was proposed. This is from the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC. Yes. They are suggesting that the State Electoral Commission, the State Independent Electoral Commission, be scrapped and the Inec should be allowed to conduct local government elections across Nigeria. What do you think of that suggestion?
It's still part of what I've said. Now, people that made such a proposal or suggestion find good and fine. Let us have the idea of the people in the whole country, in the 774 local governments. Then we will know where we are going. If there is the idea is shared and the conference or seminar or stakeholder meeting is held in all the 774. Let's say out of the 774 reports that will be submitted, 700 says the state Inec will be scrapped. What do you think happen? It will definitely be scrapped. But if you have the conference and it's just 4 local government that say no, 774 will be scrapped. The rest say it should not be scrapped. What do you think that comes? It becomes dead. So from there we get this idea. We get to where we are heading to. Now, people that say, okay, scrap State Independent Electoral Commission, good and fine. But you cannot scrap it like that. It is constitutional, that body. That means the constitution has to be what? Has to be amended. So you cannot say you want to scrap by mouth. You have to scrap based on law. The constitution has to be amended. So if the conference of blah, blah, blah is held and proposal is made, then bill will be sponsored to that effect. There to be amended. Then it becomes what? It becomes law. That is the game. So you don't just say, you see, that's what I've been saying. Nigerians, they rush a lot. You have a rethink. This is backed by law. If you are removing it, it has also to do what? It has to be backed by law. That is it. They have good idea. The idea they have is not recognized by what? By law. So the law must recognize it before you can say, this must be done. So that is why I said, let the appointee with his lieutenants sit together, have a rethink, involve the political experts. There are many in Nigeria. Political experts are many in Nigeria. Whether in the military or the civilian, in the nursing, in academia, in farming, in agriculture, in electronics, they are there. Political experts are there. Involve them. They will give you what I call blueprint. That blueprint, once it is followed, his name will be in the Guinness Book of Records. People will say, when Prof. XYZ was there, he did this, and he brought this, and this is what we are following now. But these developed countries, their political system didn't develop within the tickle of an eye. It took them several years before they could get to the stage they are now. So Nigeria shouldn't be an exception. Yes, I could recollect in those days when elections were held. They will give you ballot paper, you thumbprint. You thumbprint in the corner, you drop it in another place. But these days, what do they do? They say, bring your fingerprint power. You do. So we are making progress. We are making progress. So the progress we are making, we're going to be making progress until we get to the definite point we want to go to. But to get there, we need to involve the entire country. We need to carry them along. Let us hear, why are they annoyed? Why do they like to be posting on true stories? We need to know.
Well, all Nigerians should have issues with fake news, definitely. But I think the thing with Nigerians are very emotional people. Whenever they see something that probably resonates with something they don't like or something they've been suspecting, they often just take it up and then they spread it without truly verifying it. Yeah, I think, but how do you think that could be solved though? You know, apart from, let's say, like National Orientation Agency going out, we've always been having adverts on do not spread fake news, hate speech, but we still have that in our midst. So what could be done?
You see, I think about 2 years ago, I think here and some other places, I went on there to inform Nigerians that the abuse of our naira is becoming an eyesore, that the government should take an action by Central Bank of Nigeria and the law enforcement. That Nigerians love to keep dollar as if it's a glass. Why our naira will be spraying on the street, and some will even turn it. And I think based on that, government took steps. Today I can tell you, move around Nigeria. You will never see where the carry naira is spraying it. Do you know why? It's because there is what they call deterrence. Yes, deterrence. I think I started that crusade in this country, and I said that the dollarization of Nigeria economy is becoming an eyesore. You pass through Ireland, they say dollar. Now they carry our naira. Some people will be doing wedding, they will be spraying naira, which is against our law. There is a law to that effect. Mutilation of our currency is a criminal offense. Now, spreading of fake news in Nigeria is also an offense. So I am saying and I'm suggesting that the government should speak in an action. Let there be 2 or 3 deterrents. Pick one of them, charge him to court, let him face it. By the time he goes to wherever he goes to for 3 months or 2 months, by the time you charge, like, let's say in Lagos, 2 is picked up, maybe you say 1, Nasarawa 2, Enugu 1, with Delta 2, Kaduna 3, and they are being prosecuted. I bet you some people will delete their number from those groups. They will block it, that they don't want to be belong to that book where you post all those fake news. So what I'm saying is that the law enforcement agencies should swing into an action to ensure that fake news becomes a thing of the past in Nigeria, as it has been done fairly to abuse of our naira. I can say that.
But the thing with fake news is most times it's always been sponsored, because talking to some of our fellow journalists, they will say that sometimes they receive money going into millions of naira to write a defamatory statement about a particular person, to just put it out there. In fact, they don't really need you to use your name. They don't mind even if you create a new account for it. But what they just want is the circulation of that. So what about the sponsors of the fake news too? What could be done to them?
Don't worry. They are the same cadre. Now, once you pick the person who posts such untrue story on news and is subjected to investigation and interrogation, he will mention the name of that person. And once you mention the name of that person, you pick the sponsor. I call it what you call, it is called chains investigation. It's chain. You pick A says B, you pick B. You say no is Z, you pick Z. Z, you pick Z. But when you pick all of them, you look at the statement made and their responses to the allegation, you know they want to charge to court and they want not to be charged to court. So when the sponsor faces criminal charge, the man will not sponsor such a thing again. Now, I could recollect when EFCC took some drastic steps in this country on the issue of spreading of abusing of our naira. I think some persons were charged to court. Some willingly pleaded guilty. Some did not plead guilty. Some reached what they call a plea bargain with EFCC. They did it and those things. And from there, since that time now, I think the ideal of mutilation of our currency is becoming a thing of the past. I think I even read it in paper. There was a traditional ruler that was even involved in such a mess. And the necessary sanction was meted on him. Good and fine. This ideal of fake news, fake posting, untrue story, law enforcement is your duty. Do the needful. Don't let them set this country ablaze. Don't let them set Nigeria on fire. You don't need to be doing that. Mr. X, where is this one? Take him off. There is no how small a criminal offense is. It attracts what I call punishment. Let it be done. The law is not meant for decorative purposes. It is meant for the society to be peaceful. That is the essence of law. Without law, you cannot be here, cannot be here. It's because there is law. So since the law is there, let this law be utilized accordingly. Let it be utilized. If there is no law, you cannot even come here. Those boys will barricade roads. But because there is law, they know that if they barricade roads, within 2 minutes, police will round them up, good and fine. That is why you are free to move around. That is the essence of law in society, is to maintain peace and tranquility in the country. In order to maintain peace and tranquility, in order to say bye-bye to untrue stories, untrue posts, fake news, fake this, fake that one, please, law enforcement agents, it is your duty to do the needful. And I pray God will lead you to do the needful. But in doing the needful, don't go beyond what the law says. That is very, very important.
Yeah, definitely. You know, now talking about selection of leadership and then prosecution and punishment, it leads us to want to examine the minister who recently resigned. And one of the things he said was blackmail. But before we talk about that, let us quickly go on this short break. And when we come back, we will continue discussions here. Just stay with us. Glad to have you back. If you're just joining us, this is Firecrackers. You've missed quite a lot, but don't worry, you can catch up with us on our Facebook page. We stream live on Facebook, or you could be patient and watch later on our YouTube channel where snippets of this program would be posted. And now to the topic that we want to talk about now, which is about this is a very, I don't know if I should use the word embarrassing one for the family involved and also for the whole of Nigeria, when a minister had to stepped down because he said he was being blackmailed, and that is Uche Unaji. What do you think of all the scenario that played out? Because we have some agencies even calling for his prosecution because, according to them, it seems as if he deceived Nigerians. What are your thoughts about that?
The issue of what I call the Nigerians call it fake certificate. It's not new in this country. I think 1999 or 2000, there was he a senator or a minister who involved in such an act, and necessities were done. Subsequent ones also happened, all and all, and it's not new. But you see, to the present issue, when the news or the story was flashed then, the person affected, ordinarily then, in order to pave way for proper investigation of the allegation, he ought to have resigned then and step aside for him to be properly investigated. And if the investigation is done and nothing is not culpable, good and fine. But the stage at which he resigned now, well, it's also good and fine. But that does not amount to whether to be properly investigated. It has not amount to whether. What would have happened was that if the university actually issues statements and say this and that, then the appropriate government authority, they may take charge of the issue and then let him face the wrath of the law. But I want to say with all due respect that when issue of a fake certificate is raised, a lot needs to be done. Concerning the university claimed to have been attended, that university is the only body that can come out to affirm or deny it. And such denial must be what? Must be in writing. Not by Facebook. No. It has to be in writing. Because he claimed he attended the university and graduated. It is only that university that can say, no, you attended our school on 22 October, from we did not see you in our school. Good and fine. But you attended year, and in year, the Senate approved your result, you graduated. So it is only that university, no any other body. So now, having resigned now, the investigation can be properly done. And if it is done, the level knows what to do. But nobody can say, this is this, or this is that, except that university. And that is exactly what Nigerians are expecting. Though I read it at the university, but has it been sent to public knowledge, the letter or the memo or the report from that university saying this and that? If that has not been done, that university needs to act fast. Okay. Then the people who make such disclosure, which was subjected to investigation findings and which eventually led to resignation, may still continue with such in order to get the truth of what really transpired. But let's be sincere with ourselves. When such allegation is made, it is also left for the allegee to ensure that the allegation made is true or is not true by making himself available to the investigative authority, not to fly out of the country and be making noise across the border. That would not be possible. He should make himself available so that Nigerians know that, what this man is saying is so, what this man is saying is so. But if he jet out of the country and start making noise across the border there, that will not help the situation. Now, I so much like the situation that he willingly resigned, good and fine. But to me, immediately the news was flashed then, he should have said, no, this is not true. In the circumstance, I hereby leave. Then, Nigeria would have said, no, that man is a pious Nigerian. Let us look at his paper, let us read it. And if they investigate, then they know the allegation made was not true. Nigeria say, it's a fine Nigerian. But as it is now, if peradventure it is investigated and discovered that the allegation made is correct, what do you happen? That's a bad signal. And I want to say that our higher institutions in Nigeria, they need to be careful in terms of certificates they issue, in terms of admission they do. Now, it will not be out of place if a university make to the whole world, make it available to the whole world, the students that graduate from their school. It's not out of place. They can do it online, they can do it in newspaper, can do it anywhere. So the whole world will be able. Then when allegation of this is being flagged, with due respect, such affected university or higher institution should within few days make response, do findings and make response in order to save the name of the university from such embarrassment, because it is an embarrassment to the graduates of that school. Because the impression created is that they roll out fake certificates. But when the university react immediately and say, this is not true, this is not true, it will have cleared it out. Not that you keep quiet and stay in the office there and be sitting AC and be carrying files up and down. That will not help the situation. And it will have saved a lot of situations. It will have saved in terms of cost, in terms of money, in terms of energy. But you just keep quiet while the investigators are investigating. You keep quiet. Quickly issue a statement. When did you attend the university? Check the necessary record. When did you graduate? Check the necessary record. Carry the file. Go and bring the file. You check the file. If he graduates, say he graduates. If he doesn't, did he graduate? Tell the world that this man did not graduate from this university. Everybody
so
will
just
know.
clear up that's what's up.
Exactly.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Modele. It has really been a pleasure. It has been very educative. It has been very informational. We thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you, listeners at home. I love you all. God loves all of us.
And that's Dr. Modele, law practitioner. And this is where we'll be drawing the curtains close on today's episode of Firecrackers. My name is Ribami Salako, and we thank you so much for staying with us to the very end. See you same time, same station next week. Do have a lovely week ahead. Goodbye.